And we're live. Sorry, guys. You actually caught us in we're like going back and forth like it's all a abandoned ship.
Abandoned ship,
For
yeah.
the shore. Hello, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, ex-truck driver with pink eye in the whole wide world. It's Bitcoin Ben. And we have Heather Murray with us. Heather, I have to say, you look amazing today.
Thank you.
And what's crazy, it's not a filter. It's actually
Yes, it is.
What? Hell, I need one of those. Squeeze me out a little bit.
I think it's filtering me too much.
Well, I need a filter that like clears up pink eye, maybe gets rid of the bags. I don't know. But luckily I'm naturally, sexy. So it comes. And everybody, I'm telling you right now, this show, you are gonna want to re-watch this episode about 2 or 3 times. Because Heather, give the viewers like a lowdown of your history. You lived in the world of the swamp, and well, not Washington swamp, but like financial swamp, which is all connected. Give the people a little bit of your history, and then let's roll with this.
Well, actually, I was a military contractor after 9/11, and that's when my whole awakening happened. And I worked with John Lair. After 9/11, we were moving troops all over the Middle East. And that's when I really started to wake up and started to see what the hell was going on, all about the
going on.
And, yeah, like way before everyone else did. And I owned a tech company for about 20 years. We did military IT work for the U.S. military. But as I started to expose a lot of this stuff, they came after me. The swamp came after me hard. And I think it was the big pharma people that really, really, really targeted me. And the first thing that they target you with when you start exposing all their dirty little secrets is your income. And, my business was very successful and it got hit. And then after COVID, I just basically closed up shop. In 2019, a good friend of mine was living with John McAfee, and he basically said they were starting up a crypto company, and he said, Heather, come out here. You got to meet him. I got some crazy deep state shit to tell you, and you're probably one of my only friends that's awake enough to appreciate what I got to tell you. And I didn't actually ever go on that. And shortly thereafter, my dad died. I had to move 7 times. It was just a really, really, really bad year for me. And then just after that, McAfee fled the country. And then we all know what happened after that. So I have been researching for 20 years. I've never stopped. I can spend 8 to 10 hours a day researching this stuff and reporting on it, but I have been censored on pretty much every single platform. But it's kind of interesting because I can decode a lot of this stuff. And a post came up yesterday about, do you ever stop to think why anons were taken away and suspended for the pause the last 3 years? And maybe it's to cause confusion among those in the sealed indictment list, because the bad guys actually relied on our decoding to figure out what they were going to do next. And then we're seeing all kinds of truth bombs coming out right now with Gene Ho. And he just recently did a short video on how many special operations groups can you name? And the first one being Navy SEALs, Rangers. And then he also talks about, and this is what I thought was really interesting, I want to address this, probably not now, but a little bit into this, was during times of special operational warfare, they would drop leaflets on the battlefield in order to deceive the enemy. And now they don't do that. Now they have information warfare, and all these special operations were started by Kennedy. And where do you think the place that they do that is called? And that is called, they train at the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center. And that's why I wanted to name my news podcast after that. And so anyways, but where do you want to start today?
Oh, it's God, where
there's a lot
to really start. It is amazing how looks like we have people over on Twitter now can reply in here. Oh, sweet. I'm this software upgraded, and it added like all this new stuff. So I'm watching it. Everyone watching on Twitter, hello, welcome to the show. All right, you and I were actually talking about like the bond market, the treasury. Let's hop in on the credit card news. This, I think, hits the general public the most.
Oh, yeah. So last night, all the banks, all the major ones, were sent notices that there's going to be changes to the terms and conditions to all of our credit card accounts. And we don't know what it is. They're basically not extending credit anymore. And what I'm going to guess what it is, they're going to basically reduce your credit limits that you can use. They're probably going to raise the interest rates. You will no longer be able to make minimum payments. And if you don't agree to the terms and conditions, they're going to basically just tell you, well, then we're going to shut off your account and we're going to charge you even more interest, even though it's going to be screwy what they're going to do. Nobody's buying the bonds. So we're going to have supply chain shortages with regards to that, because the ships aren't taking the bond market. Nobody's buying our debt. So we're facing a major liquidity crisis. And a lot of the comms that I'm getting is that today, or maybe even possibly next Friday, could be the day that shit really starts to hit the fan with this.
That's exactly what I'm hearing. Either today or next Friday, we could have another 2007, 2008 kickoff. And that, for those youngins watching that weren't like around or like weren't really paying attention, 2007, 2008, that we barely made it through that without a full economic collapse. They basically had to switch on the printing press and bail out every single entity out there. Every bank except Lehman Brothers, they let them die. But once Lehman went down, I think they really realized, oh hell. Because Lehman went down, which triggered AIG, everyone else, because Lehman owed other people money. And that's the contagion. That's the issue. They also connected that if one of them drops, they all drop. They all fail. Because there's so many freaking derivatives shared amongst them. And when the shit hits the fan, it's like they're playing hot potato. I don't want them. Well, I don't want them either. So lay out what you see heading towards us. Is this something we can survive, or are we all going, or are we going to the bunker? Let me know.
Okay. It's gonna look. This could be the scare event that they keep talking about, and I am one who believes that the White Hats have a backup plan, that they've got their own financial plan. Once they're too big to fail, cabal banks, the Federal Reserve, the IMF, fail, then they're going to roll out the new one. So I have faith about that. And a lot of people were talking about this whole Obama film that came out, and there were so many comms in that were tied to the Q drops, that were tied to gematria, that I was just like, I was decoding them yesterday all day. And so you want to get into those? Because yes, that will tie into all this.
Even my wife knows I'm batshit crazy. But now she's watching things on television in a different way. And we're watching it, and she's like, because what I did is I said, I bet they talk about this. I bet they bring in this. And I bet they say this. And I nailed every one of them. And my wife's like, how do you know that they would include, this? I said, because, hun, this is preparing the public.
Yep.
Subconsciously.
And I think it's a total White Hat production. I do not think that the Obamas, they would be that blatant. I know that there's the whole predictive programming, and they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And then we have in the news about all the cyber attacks. And I think New Jersey just got hit. Did you see that?
No.
They had their whole electricity knocked out. So people in New Jersey, yeah, right now that's happening. So, let's get into this, because the very first scene, I wanted to find, so you got to look at this. We're always told we're watching a movie, those of us that follow Q. And Trump's Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, was a Hollywood producer. And I was trying to find while everyone was looking at the Obamas, I wasn't looking at the Obamas. I was looking at the director, Sam Esmail, and the other films that he has made. And that's where I just started to go, whoa, because ES, Emergency Services, and Mail. He's made a movie about Julian Assange. He made a movie called Mr. Robot, and that was about hackers coming in, and basically the company that they're hacking controls everything, like a BlackRock. I mean, it literally is without them saying it. And it's called E Corporation. So and they refer to that as Evil Corporation. So what they're trying to do, the whole premise of this is to knock out all their files so that they can wipe out everyone's debts. Okay. So that was telling.
That, I swear to God, this is what I wrote yesterday.
Interesting.
This actually means purchasing power.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the ETFs are for. They know the shit's about to hit the fan. They know the next system is actually Bitcoin. They already know it. Everyone knows it. So what they're doing, they're using the ETFs. They're shaking out the general public. Right? They're shaking out the little guys. And while everyone's in a full panic and freaking Bitcoin's going crazy, the markets are going crazy. Look at who's the old guy. Warren Buffett just sold a ton of stock. We're talking about the original ice cream liquor here. Right? He doesn't panic until now. He sold a ton of stock yesterday.
Yeah. Jim Willey just revealed about BlackRock and how they were basically the main narco money laundering bank for the Bushes with about $10 billion. Yeah. So wouldn't they get their assets seized under Executive Order 13818?
Well, they would unless they hold it in Bitcoin. How the hell are you going to seize it?
That's true. But let's go over these comms that showed up in this movie. So with the predictive programming, and so it's basically, are we being warned to prepare for cataclysmic events? And I say absolutely. Are we being shown predictive programming? Absolutely. But we also need to look at it from another perspective. And I saw hope at the end of this with regards to their New World Order agenda. So, so remember the very first scene where you have this huge oil tanker, okay? And it's crashing onto the shores, okay? And it's crashing. It was Westbury, New York, which is one of the wealthiest zip codes in New York, where that oil tanker, where a lot of the elites live. And with a huge sign that said, let's see, it said, what was interesting, I said, was the White Lions. And if anybody knows this, there's about 100 white lions in the world and about 30. Can you hear my notifications keep going off?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So there's about 13 in the wild of white lions. Now, to me, that represents the banking families, the 13 Illuminati banking families that bought us the Fed when the Titanic crashed. So I thought that the ship coming ashore and crashing representing the end of the petrodollar. And we just had Putin meeting with Saudi Arabia, and they were as giddy as can be because they got their new
high five and all kinds of good stuff. Yep.
Yeah. And that ironically sank on April 15th, 1912, and which brought us the Fed and the petrodollar, which is the day that they've enslaved us, and we have to give them, 20 to 40% of our income in taxes, when they can print money out of thin air. Interestingly, the White Lion was named the ship, which was one of the first slave ships. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. And if you want to go way back, way back and a little woo-woo, all right, the lion is one of the original symbols, and I'm talking 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years ago. Right? One of the original symbols of the Elohim, and white lions have had a history symbol-wise for 50,000 years.
Yeah, it as a symbol of purity, strength, and royalty, considered to be one of the most sacred animals. Okay, so White Lion in Gematria is the 114, the 690, and the 115. And you do that in Gematria. And the thing that really stood out to me was Trump's Q Army was the first word in that. The Tiffany blue box, Steve Dishon, and it also mentions XRP and RippleNet, cut off, you're all cut off, Twitter, and rest in peace. So those were the gematria comms that I got from the White Lion. Q Post 1141 is all about large tax cuts when Trump. So that's also to me symbolizing bye-bye IRS. And we now have more versus the United States in the Supreme Court that is voting on whether or not to abolish the IRS and just come up with like a flat usage tax.
Oh, yeah. The IRS is done. They are going to get rid of the IRS. Trump is going to launch a new currency out of the Treasury, not the IRS. They're actually going to back it with land and natural resources.
Asset back, yeah. That's what's exciting because it's
happening.
I know.
And what's crazy is a lot of people don't realize this. America has more oil than anybody in the world.
Yep.
We make Saudi Arabia look like they're holding a cup of tea.
Yeah.
We have so much oil, and plus, oil is not a fossil fuel, right?
I know.
The earth produces oil. We're never going to run out of oil.
Right. That was another thing that was interesting in that movie about all the electric self-driving cars that were rendered useless once this cyber attack happened. They were all just congesting the highways and they were getting hacked and causing all kinds of accidents. And Elon Musk himself has even said that he was wrong about the whole electric car business and now wants to look into hydrogen. But I also feel like, they've also suppressed free energy. So that's another thing with Tesla that will be rolling out very soon.
Well, free energy. Now, there's something that needs to be addressed with that is, yes, there's free energy out there.
Mm-hmm.
The key to free energy is not tapping into it the wrong way. Because there's a right way to do it, and then there's a wrong way that you could literally blow yourself up.
Oh, yeah.
And light yourself up with just a little fucking triangle like this that sits on your desk and absorbs energy and powers your whole house. But if this isn't made right, your house goes up in a flash because there's so much energy out there that if you tap into it the wrong way, you're done. You're gone. That's how much energy's out there.
And that's why they built those pyramids.
Yeah.
And that's where the stargates are located, are under those pyramids. And that's why we went into Iraq and Afghanistan. So back to the Q comms, 6920, which was about Time's Up, and the train crashed remember when they were trying to take out they put the dump truck in the train tracks and tried to kill all the Republican senators. That's what that drop was about. And that I couldn't help but think of recently. I don't know. Did you see the whole I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but did you see that she got Time Magazine's Person of the Year?
I think my wife told
she
me.
Was okay. That I thought and that one also stood out to me because Rosie Rios, who's the former U.S. treasurer, whose signatures on trillions of dollars of our currency, said it's about time. and the train has left the station. And she mentions 2 dates. She mentions 1929, and in 1929, what had happened was one of the worst floods in U.S. history had happened with the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
she also mentioned in 1936, Wallace, what was Wallace? I'm totally blanking right now. King Edward's wife, who he bequeathed the crown to. Okay. And he was first cousins of the Tsar of Russia, and he gave up his crown. He was also good friends with Hitler, by the way. But he gave up his crown to marry this woman. And that's how we got Elizabeth, who stepped in. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because all of our tax money goes to paying these royal families. So I thought that was an interesting and that they would pick Taylor Swift, because the Swift system are giving us confirmation that it's about to be replaced with something. That's my take on that.
Hey, I think that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's I love Q, and I'm right there with the direction. You get a lot more like into the weeds with all that. I'm actually more of a historical, larger overview, person. You're in the weeds, like.
Oh yeah, but I'm also a big history buff too, and I know what happened, during World War I and during World War II, and what got us. I mean, that the whole reason why they killed the Tsar and his family is because he wouldn't take on a Rothschild central bank, and that's when Rothschild came in and said, I'm going to, he funded the Bolshevik Revolution.
Yep.
And that's what brought us World War I, and that's what brought us World War II. And trust me, these communists and these Bolsheviks are a million times worse than what they ever said the German people did. I mean, it's just god awful. And that whole thing with the leaflets in the movie, when they were dropping down leaflets saying death to America. Well, in World War II, the propagandist Ilian Ehrenberg was dropping leaflets on the front lines telling the Russians and the Mongols and the Bolsheviks and the communists to basically kill the German women, children. No German is guiltless, but rape them, have fun with them, do whatever. And millions and millions and millions of women were brutally gang raped. I mean, it was god awful what they did to the German civilians during World War II. But so back to Taylor Swift, though, it's also coming out that a lot of people think she's the clone of Zena LaVey, Anton LaVey's daughter. And I mean, the two are identical, but a lot of people also don't know that Anton LaVey dated Marilyn Monroe, and he dated also Jane Mansfield, who's Church of Satan. So, and
that I don't really care about. I mean, it's cool, but it doesn't have any relevance to like how we're all about to get the shit slapped out of us.
Yeah, but so she's also dating a football player. What do you call the nuke? Where they keep all the nuclear codes. It's called football. So these are just what I'm trying to say. These are comms that I'm getting, that they're about to nuke the financial system, and bye Swift.
I can basically see that with just how all of them are out on like TV doing interviews saying we're going to drop the interest rate 3 times next year. Well, if anyone with a brain knows that as soon as the Federal Reserve even whispers drop the interest rate, the market plans a year ahead. That's what they're pricing in. They're not pricing in the past. They're pricing in the future. That's why it's a market. So when the Federal Reserve says, "Oh yeah, next year we're probably going to drop rates at least 3 times," that's them telling the markets, we know we're fucked. That's why Gary Gensler went out on CNBC and had this whole rant of why are you asking me about crypto ETFs? Why are you asking me about Bitcoin ETFs? Don't you think you should focus on the Treasury and the bond market? He's basically like, look, this fucking show's over. They're literally, they're no longer worried about everyone else. Not that they ever were, really, but now they're not even pretending. They're like, sorry guys, all we're going to do is print money.
And that's what Jim Willie said. They'll have to print $7 trillion to get themselves out of this mess that they've created. But I also think with regards to blockchain is that our last election was done on a blockchain voting system. So Space Force and the military has all the fraud. And you had Melania confirm that with the outfit that she was wearing on the day of the election. She's, I say, the fashion troll. But, and you also have Christine Lagarde, WEF, saying if we don't adopt this technology, we're going to get cannibalized by it. And that's exactly right.
Plus, after the Fed announced they were going to hold rates, but plan on dropping rates next year, the next day, yesterday, Lagarde actually comes out and goes, nope, we're holding our rates firm. There's a reason she's doing that. She knows the dollar is gonna get wrecked. So she knows if she would have even hinted that she was gonna drop rates, that the euro would have got wrecked. But the euro went up against the dollar. The dollar dropped like a hot rock through snow against every other currency out there. Then we have Venezuela letting their interest rates just, or letting their currency friggin' go crazy in like an 1,100%. Or wait, let me phrase this right. It devalued to 1,100% yesterday, or something like that.
Wow.
They basically.
Argentina, same thing. I mean, their peso ain't worth shit. That's why they're going to the US dollar temporarily. But then I heard after January, he's bringing out his own asset-backed currency.
Yep, so, and they're also going to legalize Bitcoin.
In Argentina? They're abolishing
multiple countries. The first quarter, you're going to see about 18 different countries legalize Bitcoin as a legal currency in their country. and it's going to be pandemonium, folks.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be.
Hang on one second.
Huh?
All right, guys, we are going to go. We have to drop YouTube because we are going to talk about some serious stuff here now. All right, so YouTube, after a word from the sponsor, you go bye-bye. And everybody, listen to me. Listen to me good. If you do not have a Liberty laptop, you're done, folks. Your laptop is going to be a paperweight when this is, I'd say, by probably March or April, if not earlier. Hold, please. Word from the sponsor.
Introducing the Liberty Laptop, your gateway to online anonymity. Engineered with your privacy in mind, the Liberty Laptop comes equipped with cutting-edge security features, ensuring that your data remains yours and yours alone. No more worries about your personal information being shared without consent. Say goodbye to prying eyes and third-party snoops. Enjoy your online freedom with advanced privacy settings, protecting your every digital move, all at your fingertips. With the Liberty Laptop, you control what others see and don't see. We customize your privacy settings and let only what matters most to you be shared. No more concerns about unwarranted surveillance. We put the power back in your hands. No unwanted access through the laptop's camera and microphone. Powered by the latest technology, the Liberty Laptop ensures performance while respecting your personal boundaries. The Liberty Laptop. Your control. Your privacy. Your world. Visit calixsolutions.io to experience true personal freedom today.
All right, YouTube, you go bye-bye. Hey, everyone on YouTube, if you want to watch the rest of the show, which I plan on going for about another hour, Heather, I hope you can hang out. Click the link under here, join the private server, and watch the rest of the show there because we're about to go woo-woo. And I also want to talk to you about what's going on over in Israel and get your thoughts on that. So YouTube, you go bye-bye. Hang on one second.